Well, hey everybody, it's Sandy and welcome back to my channel dedicated to helping you advocate for your own health one topic at a time. So guys, today I've got a first in a while, a new video in my dry eye series. A viewer reached out and asked me whether I would do a video about how I alter or manage makeup for dry eyes. Yes, it's been a while since I talked about my dry eyes. So I do have dry eye disease. That dry eye disease is a function of either blepharitis or meibomian gland dysfunction, or both. In my case, I have meibomian gland dysfunction. I suspect it's because I did 2 rounds of Accutane when I was younger. I wish I could take that back. But now my meibomian glands, instead of making a nice oily substance to lubricate my eyes, make wax. And that wax gets plugged in the meibomian glands. It's very difficult to lubricate the eye properly with the oil. So I have done a couple of videos on my NuLids device, and I'm going to link the first video right here. I did a review and I have continued using this. So I'm going to talk about this a little bit, but yeah, I'll talk about some of the rules I have, the do's and don'ts about eye makeup, given the fact that I have dry eyes. And it really doesn't matter whether the dry eyes are coming from blepharitis or meibomian gland dysfunction, really. These won't really only be makeup tips. It's hard for me to separate all the different strategies. They kind of come together, sort of like when I talk about masks and other mitigation measures with COVID. You know, it's really hard for me to talk about just one mitigation measure as though it exists in isolation. So the same thing with the dry eyes. I'm going to mention some tips that don't seem to have anything to do with makeup. They don't, but they are part of the overall strategy for the dry eyes. Yeah, so let me jump right into it. That brings me to the very first thing, which is my NuLids device. So again, this isn't about makeup or anything, but I do use my NuLids device regularly. I use this 6 days a week. It's supposed to be every single day. I usually skip one day. There have been times when I've missed 2 days in a week, but I can really feel the difference and I've been sorry about it. So I haven't done that in a very long time. I use this at least 6 days a week. Now, for those of you who don't know what the NuLids device is, you can watch my video review of this product. The manufacturer also offers us a really nice coupon code with this product. So feel free to head on over to that video and take a look. But this has been a real game changer for me. I have done other things like, for example, every now and then I do LipiFlow. LipiFlow is supposed to be about a once every year or so. It's pretty expensive. I do find that out of everything else that you can do, I think LipiFlow is the heavy hitter, at least for me with the meibomian gland dysfunction. I get a lot of relief out of LipiFlow. I can just give you a sense of how much help that my NuLids device is. I am going to have a LipiFlow treatment in the middle of October, but it will have been almost 2 years since I did. And I think that's largely because I've been using the NuLids device every single day. So earlier on in COVID, I didn't really feel safe doing things like LipiFlow, certainly not before I was vaccinated. And then after I was vaccinated, we still had issues in my area and I just didn't really need it until much more recently. So now I think it's going to be a lot to expect for this to overcome the stage that I'm at right now. I do need a LipiFlow treatment. Suffice it to say, a NuLids device, I think, is really critical for keeping your dry eye in a place where it's as manageable as possible. So to that extent, I have put it down here in my list of things that help me in terms of makeup for dry eyes. Second one, and this is probably my golden rule, and that is nothing in the waterline. So yeah, I love that look too, where I see people put something like right inside the waterline. I like the look of tight lining, especially on the upper lid. For those of us who have aging eyelids, have some lid redundancy, have some of our lash line is getting sparse, there is nothing to plump up your lash line and make it look like you have a nice full lash line like liner. And I still do some of that, but almost never do I tight line up above, and I never ever put anything in the waterline down below. Down below is where I have most of my issues. I mean, you'd say if it was a meibomian gland dysfunction, it's both. They are both dry, the upper and the lower, but I just tend to have more swelling and episodes and things along the bottom. So never, ever, ever anything right on that waterline. I just think it can't possibly do anything for you. Yes, you can wear it, you can wash it off correctly, and then it's gone, but I just don't think it can possibly be good to have anything that's, you know, sticky and meant to stay on right in that area where you know you have occluded glands. Now, as for the top tight lining, I still really don't do that. Sometimes I'd make an exception if I have like an important family event. I can't even remember the last time that was pertinent. I might get away with some of that shortly after I get my next LipiFlow treatment. So like I said, I'm going to have one in October. That might buy me a period of time that's going to be just symptom free, especially since I still continue to use my NuLids device. That I'm going to see if that will help me to continue to extend periods of time between LipiFlow treatments. It's possible that I'll feel comfortable doing that, but it's still not something I would do every day. I just want to stay out of the waterline. Okay, my third point, and some people are going to argue with me about this, but I stay away from waterproof makeup. Now, I know the obvious question is, well, if we're not putting anything in the waterline and that's not right on the meibomian glands, then what's the problem with waterproof makeup on the lid? You know, I just don't want to do anything that's overly irritating. So having to scrub overly hard to get anything off, or anything that's just meant to stay on there, I just think that those are particularly harsh products, and I personally try to stay away from them. I'm not going to quarrel with you if you decide that it's really better for you for whatever reason that you have some waterproof makeup on, but I would say keep it away from your lash line. So if you decide you want to wear waterproof mascara, there are times when I could see that maybe I would want waterproof mascara on, rarely. I would try not to go all the way down to the base of the lash. Okay, so this next one is not a don't. Yay, it's a do. And this is about, how do I do eyeliner then? Because certainly while I'm on camera, I like to line my eyes. There are times where I like to line my eyes. I have very sparse blonde eyelashes. They look kind of creepy actually. So I have decided that the best thing to do is use a good precise brush and use powder for the eyeliner. So that means no pencils. I think pencils are particularly sticky. No liquid. If I had to choose, I'd actually think the liquid would be better than eye pencils, but I don't like to use either one. So I have this eyeliner brush. It's very small, it's very dense, and as you can see, it's angled. This is a Morphe. It says G21. I don't even know if they make this anymore. I don't think it's necessary that you get exactly that one. Oh, there you can see it's kind of dirty. I've used it already today, but it's real dense. So you can, you definitely feel like it's hard to move it, especially in this direction away from the angle. And you can see how thin it is. And it's angled and it's small, right? It's not real wide in this direction. So the way that you're supposed to use an eyeliner brush and apply with liner, whether you use this brush or a different one, you can use a one that's not angled. You're supposed to dip it into the shadow, tap it off a little bit, and you're not supposed to like draw a line like this. You're supposed to just touch. You're supposed to just tap it on. Tap and then pick it up and then tap right next to that and pick it up and tap right next to that again until they connect. And at the very end, sometimes to smudge it, I'll do a little bit of gliding with the brush, but really I just use this to tap. And I'm not afraid to use a fair amount of it. Sometimes I'm dipping my brush after each tap, as long as you sort of tap it off to get the excess off and you don't have any fallout. If it's a dense enough brush and a good quality shadow, it should help prevent fallout. I like to do that anyway because I don't want a lot of fallout with the dry eyes. Now, since I said I don't go in the waterline, where do I go? I go right underneath the lashes. Sometimes I only do the outermost corner on the lower lashes. On the top, I go right up next to the lashes. And the best way to do that, if, by the way, and this is maybe not a dry eye thing, but if you do have issues with redundancy, like some hooding on your eyelids, which I do, there's a tendency to sort of pick your eyebrows up or stretch the skin up and then put the makeup on. Well, then as soon as you put the eyebrow down or let go of the skin that you're pulling and stretching, that hangs down over it. The better way to expose the spot right above your eyelashes, in my opinion, is to be right up close to a mirror that is a magnification mirror and tilt your head back. So yes, I'm looking up my nose. Okay, forgive me. But if you tilt your head back, you don't have to pull the brows or therefore stretch the skin. It will expose that skin. And I can get right up next to the lash line, and I can continue to build on that, to make it thicker. So first right up next to the lash line, then I might do another row up above that, and they're connected right next to each other. But I find that doing this, there's less tugging, and I think there's a better exposure of the area that you want to expose, that you want to cover with the eyeliner. So I think there's nothing like eyeliner for getting that look of a lush, beautiful lash line. It makes it look thicker than it is and fuller than it is. This is my technique for being able to do it while at the same time staying out of the waterline. My next tip is something I just touched on already in the previous one about eyeliner, which is that I use a good quality eyeshadow. I know I'm going to sound like a bit of an eyeshadow snob. I don't have very many of them, but what I do buy, I buy the ones that are sort of known to not create a lot of fallout. Okay, so that doesn't mean excess that you have to dust off isn't going to fall. If you get your brush, any makeup brush full with too much shadow, it's as soon as you hit it on some part of your eye, your skin, there's going to be some fallout. So it is important to tap off your brush when you put some makeup on it so that you get rid of that right away. But beyond that, some brands are better than others. And some kinds of shadows are better than others at creating fallout. So one brand that I know is very well known for creating a really nice quality shadow, especially matte, is the brand Too Faced. I think it's hard to find mattes that aren't dry and chalky. At the same time, I don't like to use a whole lot of glitters because I think those create fallout. And I think at a certain age, a lot of glitter doesn't really look that good. So, you know, the sweet spot for me is the Too Faced brand. I find that I really haven't had any problems with their products. They make very nice creamy mattes. I don't tend to have a whole lot of fallout, but for me, there's nothing like fallout to get my eyes all irritated by the end of the day. My next tip has to do with makeup removal. So what do you use to take your makeup off, especially if it's not waterproof makeup? It's real easy to take off. Whatever gentle cleanser you're using on your face would do, but I do not do that. So I'm a big fan of the Clinique Take the Day Off eye makeup remover. This looks like a wad of wax when you open it up. I would only use this with clean hands or use the little spatula that it comes with and clean that spatula so that you're not like putting dirty hands into this thing back and forth. But this is made predominantly with safflower oil. There is a product that I had seen that was supposedly kind of a dupe for this. I think it was by Derma A. I'm going to link it down below in the description box. Let me just tell you right off the bat, I tried it. Yes, it also has safflower oil in its ingredients, and I was really hoping because it's so much cheaper that it would work like the Clinique does, but it doesn't. So don't waste your money. This is kind of expensive. These are like $30 for this 3.8 ounce jar. It does last me a very long time. So there's what it looks like, right? Just a thick wax that stays in the jar. There are several nice things about this. First of all, the safflower oil. So we used to think oil is oil is oil and oil clogs glands. And if you have meibomian gland dysfunction, you kind of have waxy oil in there clogging glands. And yeah, there's a little bit of overlap here with some of the acne literature, but it used to be that people would stay away from anything oil if they had acne. Well, there are different causes for acne, but one of the causes is people have some thickened, waxy sebum. It's not, their oil in their skin isn't flowing freely, kind of like what I'm having with my meibomian gland dysfunction. Well, it turns out that there are some oils that are better than others, and oils that are high in oleic acid, for example, are not good, but oils that are high in linoleic acid tend to liquefy those other oils, kind of like likes dissolve likes, and the higher linoleic acid content is more conducive to those oils becoming more oily and less waxy. So safflower oil is one of those. It is very high in the linoleic acid. And I think that's part of the reason that not only is it not irritating, but it's actually pretty soothing for my eyes. You put this stuff on and you rub it around, including on your eyes. I have never had the slightest bit of a sting. I don't have to work at anything. It's gone, unlike other makeup removers or even my very gentle free and clear cleanser that I wash my face with. Nothing does the work like this. Now, this will rinse off without leaving an oily film on your face. And that's another thing that's really unique about this. So somehow this is designed that when you rinse, it's pretty much gone. Now, I still go on and do other steps, so I don't think even if I had a little bit of a film there, I wouldn't have it by the time I'm done with my next step, which is my toner. But I really love this product and I haven't found anything that replaces it. So yeah, Take the Day Off is the most gentle and soothing cleanser for dry eyes. My next tip has to do with mascara in particular. And I know people have all different opinions on mascara primer. I used to think, well, I don't want to get a primer. Why don't I just get a really good quality mascara and then I'm not sort of buying double? Now, if the only issue is the price, that's true. But then I developed severe dry eyes, and as I got older, they got worse. And I don't know what it is about this, but this is a Lancome product. And it is a very, very smooth, sort of a combination, not quite wax, not quite oil. And it makes everything glide. And I don't know what that's about. I think it doesn't allow the mascara to go on with big clumps that then become dried clumps that sort of flake and chip away. I just find that this is a really nice product, and it seems that my eyes feel better if I'm wearing mascara with this underneath it as a base coat rather than when I'm not. All right, and then finally, my last tip for makeup for dry eyes is no makeup. Yeah, so I do more and more days without makeup or with very minimal makeup, and I've just learned to embrace it and be comfortable with it. Now, like I said, my eyelashes themselves are really blonde and I have some hooding on my eyes, so you know, my eyes don't look so youthful anymore, and I think with the really light eyelashes, they almost look creepy. So if I'm going anywhere important, anywhere anybody's gonna like see me, I do something with the eyes, but I still try to make it really minimal. So I try to just really embrace that. First of all, I wear a sunscreen every day on my face, including on my lids and my under eye area. I like the little bit of sheen that my sunscreen makes. I did a video on the sunscreen I'm still using pretty much daily a while back. I'm going to link that video right here. I just like the finish that leaves on my face. And then on a minimal makeup day or an almost no makeup day, what I might do is just use some contouring, or you can get a light brown shadow or a contour and just do a little contouring. So I create a crease because I have hooded aging eyes. So I sort of create a fake crease there, a little bit of contour here, a little bit of contour there, and it really goes a long way. I'll also fill in my brows because my brows are kind of sparse, and you'd be surprised how much the brow defines the eye. So I try to just make it so that I can do less and less in the way of eye makeup. And I'm just trying to embrace that. I'm trying to get more comfortable with myself. Anyway, as I get older, I'm finding that easier and easier to do. So yeah, more days with minimal or no makeup. You know, the truth is that dry eye is kind of a journey, and I think that we all realize there's a whole lot of moving parts and all different mitigation strategies. So the things like that I talked about on this video, like my NuLids device, procedures that you can have done, like LipiFlow, like IPL, intense pulse light. Some people do hot compresses. Some people have a particular device that's designed to stay hot for some time and just at the right temperature, and they put that on the eye in lieu of a hot compress. So all different things. And, you know, there's also the weather. How dry is it by you? How humid is it by you? What kind of allergens are blooming in your area? And all these things tend to interact with each other. So what my eyes will tolerate for makeup one day might be very different than another, right? And I'm really hoping that very soon, because I'm having LipiFlow done, that I'm going to have a period of hopefully months, if not a year, 2 years, of much reduced symptomatology. So I'm going to let you know. In the meantime, let me know what you guys do. If any of you have come up with some techniques of your own specifically to deal with makeup and dry eye, just put it in the comments section. I'll look forward to reading some of those tips. And until next time, be well. Bye-bye.